Hi, and welcome to Arventa podcast. I have Colin today as the guest. Hi, Colin, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
So it's brilliant to have you. Can you tell a little bit more about your business to set the scene?
Sure, no worries. So I'm one of the co-founders of CXO Studio, and we are an AI native business transformation organization. We've been set up with the goal of helping small and medium businesses navigate the oncoming transition into this AI-centric world. And what I always see is that, everyone out there in the business world is seeing and hearing so much about AI, but most of them are not really sure of exactly what to do and how to take advantage of it. Now, what we aim to do is just to sort of demystify AI and try and think about it from a business transformation perspective. AI is really the tool, and that's what we use to build it. But at the end of the day, we're just looking to figure out where we can find bottlenecks in your business and where time and money are leaking, and then build systems to fix that. So ultimately, I think in the next couple of years, the type of businesses who are going to flourish are the ones that really try and become an AI native organization and try and use the tools and the services available to gain competitive advantage over their competition. And I really think that those who bury their head in the sand are going to get left behind from those who really take it full on and try and do the best with the tools available.
That's absolutely brilliant intro. I was reading an article literally this week, and it was an interesting mention there that small businesses in Ireland, they are interested in AI, they're interested in automating the processes. However, there is one big issue that has been seen right now that they don't trust AI. Do you have anything like this that you come across? How do you handle this?
I mean, that's not just Ireland, that's across the globe, I would really say. Look, I do think Ireland does tend to lag a little bit behind places like the UK and the US, which is natural. People are a little bit more hesitant to adapt the newest technologies, be it blockchain, because I worked in that world for a long time, or AI. People aren't really sure if this is a passing fad or it's the real deal, but I can tell you it really is the real deal. And there's an awful lot of evidence to back that up. Look, people tend to be afraid of what they don't understand. That's just human nature and it's completely natural. But, AI is here to stay and it's not going away. And people kind of need to realize that, yeah, what is it? $2 trillion dollars has been invested in the top AI companies, and very, very savvy investors have thought long and hard about this, and that's where they see the money going. There will be some significant transformation, but I think everyone should be thinking about it as an opportunity. Now, just because you're a, small business selling lawnmowers or something doesn't mean you need to go completely AI top to bottom. But you just try and need to look at your organization and try and understand where you can be more efficient, where you can automate, and where you have manual processes that could potentially be done by AI. AI is the only thing I've ever seen that is able to have small compounding benefits across pretty much every area of the business. So whether it's sales or finance or operations or marketing, there's lots of little places where you can gain advantage using AI tools, or the main one that I talk about a lot these days is building custom software. So building custom software used to be really an enterprise thing because it would cost hundreds of thousands or perhaps millions of dollars and take many months or probably years to actually implement. Those days have gone. And like we talked about last time, Daria, what I saw is a massive change about 6 months ago at the turn of the year, whereby the models just made a massive step change in their abilities. So people may have heard of vibe coding, which essentially just means building applications without writing code. And that's what I do. I've never written code. I'm not a developer, but I've built dozens of really cool applications for myself and for clients. But previous to that, a year ago, there was a lot of chatter online about vibe coding, but the serious developers went, yeah, it's cool and it's fun, but at the end of the day, it makes too many mistakes, and I'll just spend more time fixing it than I would have done writing it myself. And now you've got some really, really big people in the industry going, I don't write code anymore. I just tell the AI to write it and I review it and Some of them are going, I don't even need to review it because I trust it more than the code I would from one of my junior developers. So, because of this massive change, we now have the ability for small and medium businesses to go, okay, if I was to start my business over again today, and I was to think about what would be the perfect software to run my business, that's what you should be thinking about doing today. Because using some of the tools like Claude Code or Codex or even Lovable, and Lovable is literally built for people who don't know anything about software development, you can just describe what you want and it will build it. It's quite remarkable.
That's absolutely fantastic. And there are so many tools. So I bet when you start talking to the customer saying like, hey, you can automate here, you can create the app or something, they might get lost a little bit. Can you give an example of the wow effect or the case that you like to give an example as an example from the small
Sure.
business where you implemented an app or software specifically for that business?
I worked with a small business in Ireland a little while ago and they were in manufacturing space. And I was doing some things with their website, etc. But the CEO asked me, can you go and have a chat to two of my junior guys? There was a sort of telesales guy and a general office admin guy, both in their in their early 20s. And he said, go teach him about AI, about research and, some of the basics. And one of them was quite hostile and hesitant, just going, nah, I don't like this AI stuff. And, it's not good. And people are just using AI for AI's sake, etc. But I figured out that he had a process in his job which was quote to order. So they would get an inquiry from the website. He would have to decipher that. He'd then have to go off and look up the pricing across multiple different price lists from different manufacturers. He'd then have to put that in a spreadsheet, calculate the margins. He'd then have to put that in a quote in a PDF. And this was taking him several hours per customer, and he spent half his day doing this. So I said, okay, maybe we can build an app along that. So over just one afternoon, he had a lot of this sort of stuff prepared already. So I just put this into the AI. I sort of described the process of we want, and within a few hours, we kind of had the basis of an app. And you could just take the email, you could dump it into the AI. It would go off, look up the pricing. It would make a very nice quote. You could send it out to the customer from that. If the customer came back and needed a change, you could make that, and then it would send off an invoice. And he was pretty blown away. But I was actually even more blown away the following week when I came back to him because I gave him access to this app. He'd fleshed out this app like 3 times bigger. He'd built all sorts of tabs and workflow and GDPR. And he said to me, Colin, I'm sorry about my sort of hesitance at the beginning. I didn't really know what I was getting on. But at the end of the day, this is just the automation of processes and it's doing it in a user-friendly way. And this is completely up my street and I love it. And then he's then gone on to build like 2 more apps for the business in other areas to make things more efficient. We basically rebuilt their website because their website was being managed by a different company that was charging them lots of money and doing nothing. We then did some outbound and some Facebook ads, and the leads just started pouring in, and they've made many, many sales. And that's exactly the type of thing that I like to do with customers.
Absolutely brilliant example. And I see that many people are complaining like we're losing jobs because of the AI. But I think the main point here is you are losing jobs not because of the AI, but because of the people who know how to use AI and make sure that you optimize the process. And the businesses are moving at the high speed right now. So if you are not catching up with the technology and everything that's happening around you, you're most likely to be left behind and your business will not be seen, will not be visible, and will not be efficient. And Colin, that's interesting example, but how did you come up in general with the idea of helping businesses with the AI?
Um, I suppose as soon as ChatGPT came onto the scene, I immediately went, okay, this is the most transformational tech I've ever seen in my life, and this is what I want to do. And I started several businesses that were around AI, and people would just reach out to me. I write a lot on LinkedIn about AI, and I try to make it simple, break down the complicated things going on, and I suppose describe what's important for small businesses to know. And people would reach out and ask me to help them, and it's just gone like that. But like I said earlier, I think that pretty much every business out there is going to have to take a look at what's happening in the market and how they can take advantage of it. Like I said, because if you don't, you might get left behind by those who do. So I set up this business with a couple of friends who were all very experienced in the corporate world, but had a lot of sort of consulting experience, and we all thought about AI in the same manner, which I find is quite rare. I do think that everyone has more or less a sort of linear mindset, but we're on the exponential curve now, and you've got to think about that, and it's just different. So, yes, I do agree with you. You're not going to lose your job to AI, but you might lose your job to someone who's skilled in using AI. I think those sort of scare tactics are being a bit overblown. At the end of the day, AI helps us become more efficient and make more margin and make more money. And when you make more money, people hire. That's it. Companies hire for more jobs when they have more money because they have that money to expand into new areas. And it just speeds up everything you do. I mean, whatever I do, I use AI for everything I can. And I can do the job of several people or take several days into an afternoon. And everyone needs to be thinking about in what areas of my role can I just utilize the tools and become more efficient in my role.
I truly believe in this as well, that AI can take routine tasks, and especially for small businesses is the lifesaver, because then the business owner, without doing the admin work, can really focus on growing the business. And what are your top favorite tools that you use in AI?
Like I said, Lovable is absolutely amazing. It just makes it so simple. They've done an incredible job, and that's why they've grown to a $6 billion organization in just a couple of years. I use Claude Code. They enable you to do some amazing things. I mean, basically, like what you've done, pull multiple different processes into one engine to make it super easy for small businesses to manage instead of having, 5 or 10 different tools all over the place. And that is what the future is about.
Yeah, I think the future is about all around efficiency, making sure that small business can thrive and create more jobs and create more money for themselves, instead of working on the turnover and doing a lot of jobs, but just focus on something that is more growing towards the business rather than doing the admin.
I mean,
Go
people
ahead.
people just spend a lot of time doing boring and unimaginable uh, manual tasks that, well, they've never known anything else. This is the way it has to be done because there's no other way to do it. But now there is. And with the coming wave of AI agents, an agent is an autonomous piece of software that can be intelligent about what it does and orchestrate sort of goal-oriented multi-step tasks to complete something on its own. And right now they're kind of in their infancy, but given another 6 to 12 months, and they're not going to be doing someone's job, but they will do an awful lot of a part of someone's role or a specific task. So I think I would advise everyone to really break down what their business is today into the most boring and repetitive and manual tasks, and then be on the lookout for how you would automate them in the future.
I have noticed also that many businesses are using like AI and saying, I am using AI, and they open ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini and they type in whatever question and they think this is the way they're using AI. If you break this brutal world, what would be your top tip for the person who is a small business owner in
Yeah.
Ireland, wants to start using AI, doesn't trust AI, but
Well,
AI can showcase this person that hey, I can do way more than being your search engine.
there's a couple of things. Most people use AI like Google, and that's really not it. But the most important thing to know is that you need to give it context. Okay. Imagine today I came into your office and I brought a 21-year-old computer science graduate, and said, here he is, free labor for you for the next month. What do you want to do? Okay. You wouldn't say to him, go make me a marketing plan and how I, triple my business. He's not going to be able to do anything and go off that. You would spend an afternoon talking to him and explaining all the facets of your business and what you're looking for in this marketing plan and things like that. And then he would go off. And AI is the same. But people are typing for, 2 or 3 minutes and they think they're going to get a great answer, but that's not a good idea. My best advice is talk to it. Okay. We can all talk. That's what we're designed to do as humans. Click the little microphone button in ChatGPT and talk to it for 10 minutes. And then ask it to ask you questions because that's one thing AI doesn't do a great job of. If I said to you, I want a marketing plan, the first thing you would do would be to ask me a bunch of questions as to what I'm actually looking for. So, but there's not only that, obviously, the other thing to really that people don't quite realize is that if you think about nothing else, AI just is an incredible engine that can summarize text. Very, very large amounts of data and text and documents. It's incredible about just amassing all of them, understanding them, and regurgitating summaries of, whatever you've asked it to do. So if you think about it from that perspective, where have you got large volumes of data that you would like to understand? Bang them all into AI, into ChatGPT as a project, and then ask it to analyze that and figure out what it can learn. And I guarantee you it's going to learn things that you didn't necessarily know. So when you take the time to put all of the context in there and to get it to do its own analysis and then to get it to ask you questions or to come up with any, insights or analysis that it has been able to glean that you can't, you'll get some amazing things. But then what can you do with that data? Well, you can build apps around it. Codex is built into to ChatGPT now. Claude Code is built into Claude. Lovable will do it as well. They can do some pretty awesome things because at the end of the day, just think about the manual processes and the stuff that you hate doing that is monotonous and boring, but there's no really other way to do it. It will figure out a way to help you.
Good point. And also, I wanted to give you a comment here because you touched the area that I learned when AI came out is to ask questions and to give the instructions. Sometimes when you're working with humans, you don't know that you need to repeat something several times for people to understand. And when I started using AI several years ago, I try to talk like to a human, but then you understand, like you need to be really precise with what you ask, how you ask, and what result you wanna get, because poor question will give a poor result.
Yeah. I mean, look, sometimes I think, how do I say this? Being too precise is actually a bit of a mistake because it can sort of pen the AI into its thinking. Okay. So let's say, for example, generally what I do is I ask a broad question first. I see what its answer is, and then I sort of refine in from there. Because if you give it too specific an answer, it's not going to, think laterally and wide enough. So I would sort of not ask it a question once, but ask it a series of questions over a number of times, but also get it to regurgitate what it thinks the question is before it actually answers it. And that's a pretty good way to do it too.
Also a brilliant one. So thank you so much, Colin, for fantastic advice and great recommendations. Much appreciate to have you guest on the podcast. Thank you.
Looking forward to the next time. Thanks, Daria.